What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Islam Makhachev and Sean O'Malley go back and forth. After being in attendance for Leon Edwards' recent clash with Colby Covington at UFC 296, Islam Makhachev was quick to react to the fight, joking that it's time for a change at champion at 170 pounds. While the expectation is that Makhachev will fight either Charles Oliveira or Justin Gaethje in the new year, the MMA community has continued to react to the potential clash of champions. This weekend, Sugar Sean O'Malley dropped his thoughts, writing, "Leon beats Islam." The lightweight champ was then quick to respond, stating that Umar Nurmagomedov would beat O'Malley, writing, "Umar beats Sugar." Umar Nurmagomedov, of course, is one of the most promising bantamweight contenders. With an undefeated record that now sees him sitting just outside of title contention, there's been quite a bit of hope that Nurmagomedov and Corey Sandhagen wind up finally getting the chance to share the octagon once the two recover from their respective injuries. Although the O'Malley vs Nurmagomedov fight and the welterweight fight between Edwards and Makhachev are both unlikely to happen in 2024, if all four continue to win, the stars could align in 2025. Just as we thought we were done with the Islam Makhachev IV scandal, we got Islam firing back at Dan Hooker. If you recall, Dan Hooker was the one that accused Islam Makhachev of using IVs during his first fight with Alexander Volkanovski. The two have been going back and forth ever since, but it looked like the feud was done and over with. Well, it looks like Islam is still holding a grudge because he went on X and tweeted this, "My IV bag," with a picture of him choking out Dan Hooker. What are your thoughts on this situation? Do you think Islam Makhachev uses IVs? Next up, let's take a look at Gilbert Burns reveals inside information on Sean Strickland altercation. The UFC 296 brawl between Sean Strickland and Dricus du Plessis has continued to be a major talking point in the MMA community. While some believe that the altercation was set up, given the pair were seated so close to one another, the animosity between the two seems quite real. During a recent appearance on the Jackson podcast, Gilbert Burns gave his first-hand account of what took place after the middleweight champ asked his family to move.
So he pushed the seat down when he stepped. Seat kind of fell through.
Yeah. Were they hitting?
They hit each other a little
Hard?
bit. People didn't see that side of the camera. We saw because it was right there. It was kind of a little bit back.
Yeah,
it was nothing clean.
Nothing powerful.
And then Dana came after the fight like, "Hey, what happened? Someone got hurt? Anyone need anything?" No, nothing happened to anyone. Even those guys, they fought each other, a couple blows, but not even this.
As Burns indicated on the podcast, Strickland had told him earlier in the night that if things were about to go down, he would give Burns the heads up so he could get his family out of the way. When the time came and he decided to go after the #1 contender, he made good on his promise. Next up, let's take a look at Conor McGregor frustrated with UFC return. There's been quite a bit of speculation as to when Conor McGregor will return to the octagon. Although the MMA community seems to believe that he will return at UFC 300, it sounds as though the former champ is beginning to get frustrated. While speaking with Talk Sport Boxing during an appearance in Saudi Arabia over the weekend, where he sat ringside to watch an exciting night of heavyweight boxing, he took aim at the UFC for keeping him in the dark, stating that his patience is wearing thin.
Give me something, you know what I'm saying? I'm supposed to be back in April. I'm supposed to be back in April. It's supposed to be December.
Can I apologise as well? You were never the interim champion.
They've never treated anyone. They've never treated anyone. No one's ever been treated. For all the figures we've brought in this game, I sell more than all of them combined, yeah? I sell more than every one of them combined. No one in the history of the fight games ever been treated the way we're getting treated at this minute, yeah? Through what I came through, to what I bring. I'm waiting, and I'm waiting. My patience is wearing thin on me waiting, yeah?
As McGregor's manager, Audi Ator, indicated at the World MMA Awards red carpet event while speaking with media members, Team McGregor has requested that the UFC book him a fight at UFC 300. Although the expectation has been that he will fight Michael Chandler, it sounds as though nothing has been finalized, leaving fans wondering whether the UFC could wind up booking a McGregor-Diaz trilogy fight. Now, let's shift gears and take a look at MMA fighter goes off on Joe Rogan for comments. Longtime commentator Joe Rogan made some pretty bold claims on a recent episode of his Joe Rogan Experience show while speaking with undefeated contender Bo Nickel. As he concluded, while there are talented fighters competing outside of the UFC, fans simply aren't paying attention. The comments didn't sit well with former UFC fighter Corey Anderson, who's been competing for Bellator MMA since parting ways with the UFC. Anderson fired back on Instagram, writing, "Now y'all know I love my guy Joe, but as someone who spent 7 years in the UFC, and left at number 4 in the organization, fans seeing me fight wasn't enough to pay bills or even begin to set my family up for a future. My wife and I both had to have jobs to keep afloat in between fights until my first fight in Bellator. I always say I make more money in Bellator. Well, my last fight ranked in the top 5, and my purse didn't even make close to 6 figures after 7 years. 15 years, 13 top 15 opponents, and being ranked in the top 10 within my first year. As Anderson went on to reveal, in order to appear on the Joe Rogan Experience back in 2019, when he was a top-ranked UFC fighter, he had to have someone cover for him at his day job. Since defeating fellow UFC vet Phil Davis back in June, Anderson has yet to book another fight in the wake of the PFL's acquisition of Bellator. Aljamain Sterling exposes Sean O'Malley's pay-per-view numbers. He claims that the numbers weren't impressive at all, and he should have waited to fight rather than rushing the fight with O'Malley. Here's what he had to say on his podcast.
Something with my lady, and I got the pay-per-view numbers, and me and her were going through it, and I'm just like, these are the numbers that this guy was trying to say, like he's this big pay-per-view star. I'm just like, oh my God. And then when I saw the numbers, I literally said to her, if I had any idea this is what the numbers would have been, if I could have predicted that this is what it would have been, my ass would have waited and taken my vacation then and then gear up to fight now. Because this is ultimately when they said I would be able to fight in like January, February, March. Because if I didn't fight in August, I wouldn't have any other spots. So it is what it is. I rolled the dice. I trusted that the bag was going to be this, wow, blow me away kind of thing, bigger than all the other ones. It wasn't. So with that being said, it is what it is. I'm still happy I made some extra money. I had a really good year. I can't complain about that. Life's good. I can take care of myself. I can take care of my family.
Aljo then went on Twitter to clarify. He said, context, in hindsight, I should have waited. Reality, I didn't wait. Numbers weren't the highest PPV I've been on as a champ. Reality, not my worst pay-per-view pay, but the rush was not worth the squeeze in the end. O'Malley pay-per-view draw power can rise if he can keep winning, but impressively, like anyone else. No hate, no salt, just facts. Good luck to Chito and Sean. Next, let's take a look at UFC Fight updates. As the MMA community anxiously awaits the return of the UFC in the new year, let's take a look at some recently reported fights, starting with a middleweight fight between AJ Dobson and Tresean Gore set for February 17th at UFC 298. The card, which will be headlined by a featherweight fight between Alexander Volkanovski and Ilia Topuria, is set to take place at the Honda Center in Anaheim, California. The bout will see Dobson look to build on a win over Tayfun Nchukwi, while Gore will be looking to make a successful return to the octagon after a win over Josh Fremd in October of 2022. The following weekend, Yasmin Jauregui will collide with Sam Hughes at UFC Mexico on February 24th in a women's strawweight fight that will see Jauregui look to bounce back from the first defeat of her professional career, while Hughes will look to build on a UFC 287 win over Jacqueline Amorim. Last but certainly not least, we have another women's strawweight fight between Stephanie Luciano and Shauna Bannon, which will see Luciano look to make her successful UFC debut after a draw on Dana White's Contender Series back in September. On the flip side, Bannon will be looking to bounce back from the first loss of her professional career back in July. With the new year right around the corner, expect the fight announcements to keep on coming. Next, let's take a look at Cody Garbrandt talks about next UFC fight. After a sensational win over Brian Kelleher to close out the year, Cody Garbrandt is looking to keep the momentum rolling in 2024. Following the win, he called out former flyweight champion Davison Figueiredo, who was fresh off an impressive win over Rob Font earlier this month. While speaking in a recent interview with ESPN MMA, the former champ opened up on why a fight between he and Figueiredo makes sense.
Two former world champions now in the same division were previously supposed to be made in 2020. Obviously, I had COVID. I was going to go down to 125. So there's a lot of rights that make it an exciting fight. And, I thought of it. It just came to me the week of the fight. I was not overlooking Brian or anything like that. But I wrote down I think Tuesday or Wednesday fight week that I was going to knock Brian out in the first round and call out Figgy. One of those things I wrote down just to have say in my notes. So.
As Garbrandt indicated, his manager, Ali Abdelaziz, and matchmaker, Sean Shelby, are both on board with the plan. With UFC CEO Dana White teasing more fight announcements in the near future, it sounds as though Garbrandt is hoping that the two sides can reach a deal. While fans have also held out hope that the time may be right for a rematch between Garbrandt and Dominic Cruz, the former champ also notably indicated that he isn't interested in the rematch, explaining that his performance in the first fight was so dominant that unless he were to finish Cruz, there's no way to top it. Given that, it sounds like he's all in on fighting Figueiredo in the new year. Next, let's take a look at Michael Chandler giving up on Conor McGregor fight? With plenty of uncertainty surrounding the Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler fight, it sounds as though the former Bellator MMA champion could be preparing to move on from the long-awaited bout. Amid Stockton superstar Nate Diaz teasing a return to the octagon for UFC 300 this week, Chandler was quick to throw his name into the hat, writing, "Hold tight, I'd love to crack your jaw." Things are still unclear with that former fighter who is masquerading as a real fighter. Chandler, of course, wasn't the only fighter to entertain Diaz's tweet, with Dustin Poirier notably responding to Diaz as well. While the expectation has been that McGregor and Chandler will compete in the new year, there's also been talk of a McGregor versus Gaethje fight in the wake of the highlights win over Dustin Poirier this summer. During the previously mentioned MMA Awards red carpet interview, McGregor's manager, Audi Altar, stated that although a fight with Chandler is the most likely scenario, there are other opponents on the table. Of course, there's also been quite a bit of talk regarding a potential Makhachev versus Gaethje fight, with the champ indicating that he's more interested in taking on new contenders rather than rematches with fighters he's already defeated. With everything up in the air, it'll be interesting to see how the UFC handles things in the new year. Conor McGregor gets exposed for manipulating his fight with Michael Chandler. Chandler came out on the Steve-O podcast and revealed that he thinks Conor McGregor is trying to wait him out, forcing Chandler to fight another person since he's been on hiatus for over a year waiting for Conor. Here's what he had to say.
It looks really bad on everybody's part if Conor comes back and doesn't fight me after the Ultimate Fighter, right? So Conor could try to come back and act like he runs the show and say, I want to fight this guy, I want to fight that guy, which if I was in his position, if I was his manager, I would be trying to do the same thing, because fighting me is not the smartest fight. You know, it's a great way to come back in. If you beat me, you're in the top 5 in the lightweight division, you know, but also there's a lot of easier fights, and there could even be some bigger fights. I've had a full year to train and think about this guy. At this point, if it's, you know, at this point, hopefully it could be UFC 300. That's the next one that they're announcing. Like I said, if I was Conor, I'd just keep waiting as long as possible. Right. And it's such a, nobody's better at the PR game and the manipulation of the headlines and getting in the headlines than Conor and his team, right? That's why you still see them. Audi Attar, just a couple days ago, his manager was, you know, talking, Chandler's probably the most likely opponent, but there's still other options out there. It's like, no, there's not any other options out there, Audi. But it's smart for you to say that. Yeah. It's smart for you to try to get inside my head that this fight might not actually happen. Little do you know, I'm bulletproof and I'm fine. I'm going to be just fine. And I can wait this out as long as you want. You want to try to retire me? I'll retire you right back.
Top comments. Wonderboy Thompson is the definition of what a good human being is. Islam could submit Gaethje. Islam has a very tight, strong squeeze and has very good striking. He also has much better cardio than Gaethje. Gaethje honestly has no defense towards submissions and always gets taken down. I feel like Islam will land very good strikes and hurt Gaethje with his overall boxing, and he'll shoot some takedowns and go for a submission in the second round maybe. Costa's pullout game is strong. Got more chance of Brock Lesnar making a comeback than Costa fighting. Ian Gary wearing 3 different outfits, but same socks? He really did fake it. Wow. Make sure to leave a comment and you might get featured in our next video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to never miss any MMA news. Check out our video from yesterday if you missed it. See you tomorrow.